Overtime, where dogs go to die. I'm going to talk about that in What Did Bettors Learn? Plus, Teddy's got some stuff to discuss. He wants to unpack the Super Bowl. We got a lot of actionable information on today's show. Steve Merril, Iowa State, Cincinnati, New Mexico at Nevada. Ronald Cabang with a couple of NBA plays, and hopefully Dave Sharapan at the end of the show. Teddy covers with me today. Before we bring Steve Merril in, Teddy, you must have been gutted missing yesterday's show. I mean, just gutted.
Well, a chance to, why would I be gutted? I don't know. This is what I was glad for yesterday. I was glad that my wife was safe after a car accident and that my boy wasn't in the car. And that it was the day after Super Bowl. So, sure, gutted to miss yesterday's show. Okay. I was home by the time for opening line report. That's all I know.
Yeah. So are you still doing opening line report given that the football season is over?
We did the season finale yesterday.
Oh,
we'll
nice.
do a show for the NFL draft, and then we'll pick up again in August.
Nice. Guys, I did not tell you why Teddy missed yesterday's show because I don't. As you age, you learn that talking about other people's business never does you well. So I literally just said he had to miss the show, but his amazing wife, Kara, got into a car accident. I'm willing to bet minus 260 it was her fault. But regardless of that, she is all okay. Steve Merril joining us. How are you, Steve? No, Teddy, I'm not getting you a chance to talk.
So Ted, I cost Teddy money on Friday's show by saying the Super Bowl wasn't 2 days away. I just cost myself money because I had in my head this morning that Prez is going to mention the accident, which is inappropriate. Teddy's not going to be happy. I'm going to make a snide remark and it going completely opposite. So I don't know what to do here on Bizarro Tuesday.
This is what I told Kara after the crash. I'm like, you did it after you dropped the boy off from school, so the boy's not in the car. You did it the day after the Super Bowl. I'm like, anytime you want to crash up the car when the boy's not in there, it's the day after the Super Bowl, knock yourself out. If am I wrong?
Is that a
it's got to happen.
Is that a pun? Knock yourself out.
Yeah, it wasn't an intentional pun, but yes, it was a pun.
Yeah, anytime you want to get into a car accident, go break a leg. Steve Merril, you are the $2 Tuesday handicapper. We'll get to that, man. 5% play today. First one in about 40 years. We'll talk about that a little later. Let's get into our first game of this show. Iowa State at Cincinnati. Cincinnati minus 1.5, a total of 136.5. How do we bet this game?
Yeah, it's been a great college and pro basketball season, ranked number one since October when both seasons began in all side selections, college and pro combined. And I've got the strongest play I've released all year. I did not have a 5% in football or basketball. In fact, the last one was baseball back in June, and it won. It's been over 200 and some days, over 400 some plays. I've got one going tonight in college hoops. And as many viewers know, I love this time of year because there's so many great situational setups within conference season. Second revenge meetings, etc. And we're going to get to one of the revenge meetings in a moment in the second game. This one theoretically does not have revenge, but there's an angle I love. As you guys know, I love to fade the public. Super Bowl's done. NFL's done. But there's a nice little fade the public angle in college basketball. Brian Power and I have both been talking about this for the past couple seasons. And by the way, it pops quite often in my college basketball top 25 video, which I do on Friday nights for the Saturday's games. And I'll throw it out there when I see it. But this is a situation where we have an unranked team favored over a ranked team. And Iowa State's not just a ranked team. They're top 10 in the nation in their catching points here against an unranked team. So that really catches your eye. It's a contrarian call. It's an angle that continues to hit well over 67% the last couple seasons in college basketball on the blind. And I think there's several reasons why it'll work again tonight as well at 7 o'clock Eastern. First of all, Iowa State moved up 4 spots from 14th in both polls to 10th now. And that because of the back-to-back wins last week on the road at Texas as a slight dog and also against TCU by 12 at home. And TCU, of course, is a team I mentioned in my video this past Saturday that had just fallen out of the top 25. They'd also lost on a game to Iowa State by a single point on the road a couple weeks earlier. So Iowa State didn't have revenge in that game, but it was a big home win for them. They also have Texas Tech back at home on deck later this week. I think this could be a little bit of a flat spot against a Cincinnati team that's playing solid basketball this year, 12-3 straight up at home. And another reason I love February, I love the middle of the conference season, isn't just the second meetings, the revenge, but I love strong home courts because we have some good data to go with. And this is a team that's just 3-5 away, but 12-3 at home this year. And I think it's a focus spot for Cincinnati, and it's not a focus spot for Iowa State. So even though they haven't played yet this season, I like Cincinnati at home laying the short number tonight at 7 Eastern.
So you talked about the season-long record for the Bearcats at home. When we look at their most, what did you say, 12-3? Well, they're 2-3 in their last 5. And so the home court hasn't been as strong losing. I mean, it's not like the Big 12 is easy. There's brutal competition up and down the conference. But you're losing at home to Houston, and that was a hard-fought game over the weekend against the Cougs. You said you thought it might be a flat spot for the road team. Are you worried at all that the home team, who hasn't necessarily been winning these games and is coming off a brutal loss in a game where they, played balls to the wall, you worried it might be a flat spot for them at all?
Yeah, we said they've lost some games recently at home. I was going to say, well, that last loss wasn't too bad by just 5 points against maybe the best team in the country, like you said, Houston. It's interesting. They only shot 37% in that game, Teddy, and that's one of the reasons I do like them to bounce back, because Houston is the best defensive team in college basketball. And Iowa State's a good team at both ends of the court, a very good defensive team as well, but it's still a step down in class. Very seldom do you say playing the number 10 team in the nation is a step down in class, but after just playing Houston and losing by only 5, this is actually an easier game. And once again, it's the ultimate contrarian call because the line is moving. In fact, Cincinnati briefly opened as a home dog overnight, and now it's a 1.5. Looks like it might even hit 2 in some spots. So this is a sharp square divide. It's a situation that continues to work. And the fact that Cincinnati remains at home also and doesn't have to travel, I think is also an additional edge for them, whereas Iowa State has to hit the road after a couple of days. So I like the setup here, and hopefully Houston did not beat the Bearcats up too much on Saturday.
Steve Merril, everyone. Steve, let's go to our next game, New Mexico at Nevada. By the way, I heard there was a huge snow dump in New Mexico. Great ski resort called Taos. Have not been there. If anyone has, let me know how it is. Totally irrelevant to this play. How do we bet this game? Yeah, Teddy, I'm pissing you off already.
And the game itself, since the game's in Nevada, it's even more irrelevant because the New Mexico Lobo basketball players will be unavailable to take advantage of that snow dump unless they hurry back home after this game. And maybe they're thinking about the snow dump. I hope they are, actually, because I like Nevada in this spot. This sets up a couple of the situational things I mentioned earlier that I teased that I love about February. And by the way, the 5% best bet I've got tonight has everything going for it. It has all the situational angles I love in February. It's got line value. It's just a fantastic play. But something I like about this Nevada game tonight, as well as an additional opinion for the show here, is, first of all, strong home court, 12-1 straight up on the season. And it's a legitimate revenge motive for a couple reasons. First of all, they're a 19-5 team. That means they've gone 19-4 against everybody else they've played this year. And that loss against New Mexico earlier this season wasn't just a loss. It was a blowout embarrassment as they got shellacked by over 30 points on the road. And that's something that stings a little bit more than just a 5 or 7 point loss. And that game, by the way, was just a couple of weeks ago on January 28th. So less than a month ago, they lose 89-55 as just an 8.5 point dog. They're down 14.5, and it just snowballed, no pun intended to your ski reference, in the second half. But let's look at the box score. One thing I love about second meetings is just the motivational angle. It's the fact you can actually dig deeper into the stats. And obviously, New Mexico thoroughly outplayed Nevada. But Nevada shot 23.5% from 3. They were 4 for 17. New Mexico was 11 for 22, 50%. That's a difference of 21 points alone just from the 3-point arc. Nevada actually got to the free throw line more. And normally you'd say, well, that's a bad sign. You get blown out, you get to the free throw line. But on the road, teams normally don't get to the free throw line more. So I do think they have an edge down low. They also had a 15-10 turnover disadvantage. I look for less of that on their strong home court tonight. And both teams are used to the altitude. So Nevada doesn't have quite the strong home court they might normally have against the beach and the West Coast teams. But it's a great situational setup. And New Mexico does come in off a loss, but it was a tough 3-point loss against Teddy's UNLV Running Rebels on Saturday. But they were a 12-point favorite in that game and lost by 3. Not a good sign, and I think that loss actually does linger. And Nevada here off of 3 straight wins. Stayed at home, beat San Diego State on last Friday, so they have the extra day off and no travel. Looks like a nice setup here tonight. And by the way, this doesn't technically fit that unranked versus ranked angle, but you can make an exception, maybe put an asterisk, because New Mexico, they were top 25, and had they not lost that game as a 12-point favorite on Saturday, they would still be top 25. They just fell out of the rankings. So a very similar situation here with Nevada as the small home favorite.
So you talked about the Lobos and their poor performance this past weekend, losing at home to UNLV. They've lost 4 previous games this season. They lost 1 early. But in the 3 recent losses, they've bounced back each time with a vengeance in their next game. They won them all by double digits, really all blowouts. We talk about why they lost over the weekend. They didn't shoot the ball well against the Rebels. 35%, I know it was under 40% from the floor in that contest. Do worry at all that the shooting roulette wheel swings back to normal for New Mexico, and this team comes with a vengeance coming off a loss.
Yeah, I mean, we always, like you and I said, Teddy, we could always make a case for both sides, and that is the concern in this game. It's an excellent point, because if you look just a couple games back, the last day of January, they were a 10.5-point home favorite against Boise, just like they were 12 this weekend. They lost outright, and they came back and won at Wyoming by 18. The difference, though, they were a double-digit favorite at Wyoming. That was a much weaker opponent. This is still a New Mexico team that has shot 41% or weaker in 2 of those last 3 games, including that 35% you referenced. So I think this is a tougher opponent in Nevada. It's a very good Nevada team. Both these teams are 19-5 straight up on the season. Whenever I can get a Class A team at home on a strong home court with a legitimate revenge, it makes my short list. And this is a game I would definitely consider. Nevada's the only way I would play it.
Steve Merril, everyone. Guys, Steve is the $2 Tuesday handicapper at WagerTalk. Basically, what we do is we take one of the best handicappers at that time, make them the $2 Tuesday handicapper. He's got an extremely rare play, and I know that word is used a lot, but this is rare. It's been 237 days since he's found a spot to step out with a 5% play. It is tonight. It is in the NCAA. Steve, are you going to watch this game? Because I don't know if I have it in me to watch a game. When I'm releasing my strongest play in 237 days, I don't think I have the emotional makeup to actually sit through it.
It's funny you say that, because that's exactly why I don't use more 5% plays, because all my selections 4% best bets, right? We had 2 last night, by the way. They went 2-0. So last night clients picked up 8% with the 2 plays. So win or lose tonight on the 5% play, you're still up the last 2 days if you take a serious investment approach. So that is actually one of the reasons I haven't had a 5% play for 237 days. And by the way, that's the last 474 plays. That works out to exactly 2 plays per day. And I do that on purpose, but I average anywhere from 1 to 3 plays a day. The point is, if you want to get a strong play tonight, obviously this is the best play I've seen all season in basketball, college or pro. That's why we're making it a 5%. And because it's $2 Tuesday, it's an excellent opportunity for new viewers that have been on the sidelines that have missed a 76-53 start on all sides in basketball, college and pro since October, to get on board and try my best bet tonight. But if you're serious about winning, yes, I expect this play to cash this evening. But take a serious investment approach. You've missed a 76-53 start. You've missed a 2-0 sweep last night. Win or lose tonight, there are plenty more winners to come. So, yeah, get the $2 play, but there are 5 bonus promos included in that package. That alone's a reason to get it, and consider a direct subscription. I still have the buy one, get one offer right now for college and pro basketball for a full month, and that gets the best bet tonight. So save the $2, get the buy one, get one right now, and you're saving yourself a couple bucks. But I know everybody's going to get the $2 play because it is strong and rare, and it will cash tonight because I like it a lot. And if it doesn't, we move on and we continue to crush it in college and pro basketball all season.
Steve freaking Merril, man. Like, Teddy, is there a better salesman than Steve Merril? I have full access.
Wasn't selling, man. I was talking the truth.
Dude, Steve, I want to buy your plays, and I get them free.
I'm serious. I mean, and Teddy, you'll say this too. I prefer people don't buy the single play tonight. If they're not going to buy anything, buy the $2 play. But I'd much rather than get the buy one, get one free. It's college and pro combined, because look, the 76-53 start is college and pro sides combined since October. That's what's ranked number 1. This play should win tonight. It's a strong play. It's got an edge. 2 plays last night had an edge. They went 2-0. But yeah. But seriously, Prez, I don't feel like I'm selling. I'm really talking to the people out there, because this is how I do it. This is how Teddy does it. This is how you do it. And I assume everybody wants to win. And win or lose tonight, you will win long-term if you play our best bets. It's just that simple.
Damn straight. Steve Merril, everyone. And I mean that as a total compliment. Teddy, you got that situation going on with your face as if you'd like to speak. Yeah.
Wasn't there a video we were going to run with Steve? Or did we decide not to do that?
No. I said we'll do it at What Did Bettors Learn, and we're going to do it right now. So yesterday, we had technical issues and the show cut off early. Andrew McGinnis missed his opportunity, but he will be on Friday's show to make up for it. So make sure to watch that. I told you guys I had a ski video for you all. It's only 14 seconds. I think it's one of the highlight ski moments of my life. My skill level is clearly on display. Daniel, cue it up.
Go.
So that's me right there coming down. Here we go.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. So I sent that to Teddy. While on the ski hill, Teddy's response, do you want to say it?
I don't remember what I said. Was it funny?
Why are you sending us videos of skiing? We're working, you insensitive prick.
Sure. Yeah. Prez is on vacation sending us videos of him skiing. I'm like, dude, we're running around here trying to work, Go have fun skiing. And then I realized
that
it
was
a
my
video
first
of him wiping out, which I got to say I enjoy you wiping out. Sure. But yeah, don't be sending
that was my first wipeout in years. And it was caught on film. And it was a beaut. I got rated a 9.5 out of 10 from the 3 people in the chairlift that were able to see it from their angle. I was very impressed. So, Theodore, I've unpacked the Super Bowl. It's your turn.
Sure. I mean, first and foremost, my number one takeaway from the Super Bowl. You can't call someone a streaker when they have pants on. Shirtless guy, fine. Streaker, they were not. It's a false story. That's my number one takeaway.
Well, wait, can I jump in there?
Please.
Do you know the story behind the streaker?
It wasn't a streaker. It was a shirtless guy.
Okay, fine. So one of the books in Vegas had a bet on whether there would be a streaker or not. He made a $20,000 bet that there would be a streaker. He then went and bought a $10,000 ticket. He then created his own W, spent a night in jail, all good now, cashed a $10,000 profit.
Was that in Vegas or was that at an
Vegas.
Unregulated market?
In Vegas, according to him.
In Vegas, there was a bet that will there be a streaker?
I'm just telling you what he says. I don't know. I didn't streak. If I ran around streaking, nobody would see anything anyway.
All right. Well, anyhow, I'm not convinced that was a bet that was made here.
Was that Cabang in the background laughing?
What's that?
Yeah, I think that was Cabang in the background laughing in my ear.
All right.
Okay. Shut up, Lawrence.
So, 3 most important plays in the game. The punt off a guy's leg, that turned the whole game. The missed extra point, that turned the whole game. And, of course, the blitz affecting the 3rd and goal throw in overtime that forced the San Francisco field goal attempts. The whole game was those 3 plays. Came down to it. My handicap, in retrospect, was basically correct. I expected long, slow, methodical drives. There was only one big play all game. That was a 52-yard pass to Hardman. Everything else was 25 yards or less. It was dink and dunk, which is what I thought. And my second thought for the game was that this is a pick'em game. You can't lay points in a pick'em game. And it was. And that was the right call in that regard. We already have Nevada numbers out. All right. Record Super Bowl handle in the state of Nevada. That beat the 2002. Record TV audience. The only broadcast in the history of television with more U.S. eyeballs, the moon landing. So that's how, that's where we're at with the Super Bowl right now. Now, there was a lot of talk. Did the books lose? Did the books lose? We've got numbers. All right. Hold 3.7%. They made money. So all the whining you hear about the books, oh, we had a bad day, we had a bad day. It wasn't a banner day for the books, not with the game going to overtime, not with Kelsey going over and McCaffrey going over and both Purdy and Mahomes going over in overtime on all their props. Wasn't going to be a banner day. Wasn't going to be a banner day with KC as the public side. But the fact is, for all the whining from the books, they held 3.7%. They made millions on Super Bowl Sunday. There's my takeaway, at least my day after the Super Bowl takeaway. Prez, back to you, my friend.
Brother, I had a friend last night call me. Like me, he bet San Fran. He wanted to talk about it. I literally said, we can discuss it in September. That's where I'm at with NFL football. But I'm glad you got that off your chest, my friend. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, take a second out of your day and hit that like button. It's really important to us. It helps us with our algorithms. And mostly, we really like the comments when the show goes live. Those comments are huge as well for YouTube. And I do read every single one of them. I do respond to some. I mostly respond to the haters because they just crack me up, Teddy. But I do respond to some, and I'm very appreciative of all the nice work. Shout out to Mark Warner today. Teddy, I was on Puck Time earlier, and he put in the chat room. Thank you, Prez. You tripled my bankroll in the last month. Dude, when do we ever hear that from clients? I mean, I know we triple people's bankrolls all the time, but man, these guys usually just send emails when they're miserable and unhappy. So, I went on a 2-9 run 2 weeks ago. Customer service got a whole ton of emails. Hey, customer service, I just bought a month of Prez 2 days ago. He started off 2-9. Move me. He's an idiot. He sucks. Then I proceed to go on like an 18-4 run. Crickets. So, Mike, thank you, brother. Means the world when people take time out, and especially in this day and age with social media, where 99% of the people who constantly post are miserable and want to scream and yell at everybody. So, thank you, my brother. Let's bring Ronald Cabang in. Ronald, was that you laughing at my small, reference?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Okay. So, welcome to the show. We absolutely love having you on, man. Outstanding NBA handicapper, guys. One of the best there is. He's got 2 games he wants to talk about. We're going to start with Orlando playing OKC. And this Orlando team, man, right when you think it might be done and they might fall into a little bit of a slump, nope. They roll off 5 of their last 6 games. OKC, one of the best teams around, just beat Sacramento handily by 14 points. I got a feeling this is a bad spot for OKC. Where are you at on this game?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. I do like the Magic in this spot here, mostly because if you look at the Thunder's recent games, they really haven't been consistent enough for me on the offensive side of the ball. If you look at their last 12 games, they've stayed under their team total in 8 of those games. And one of those games, they went over because they went into double OT. With that said, this is a very low scoring total for a Thunder game. I looked at how they do when they, when the total is under 230, slower pace, defensive minded games. They are doing pretty well in that spot, 11-6 straight up, 11-5-1 ATS, also 10-7 to the under. If you dive deeper into that, though, in non-conference games, right, they're actually 6-0 straight up and against the spread, 4-2 to the over, going over their team total in five of those games. But in these non-conference games, they're giving up a ton of points, and that's where I'm kind of looking at this from that type of perspective. They give up 5 more points per game in non-conference game situations. So if you look at them as road favorites in non-conference situations, opponents are actually, they scored 120 in each one of those games. The Nets scored 120, Wizards, Heat, Pistons. These are not like, high efficiency offenses here that they're giving up 122. So if you look at this opposite side here, you have a Magic team. They've been playing really well. They've covered 7 of their last 8 games in these non-conference games as well. You look at them at home, 5-2 and straight up and against the spread over their team total in 5 of those wins as well. averaging 113.4 per game. I know the Magic are on the first leg of back-to-back games, but I did check to see how they do in this situation when both games are at home. They beat the Raptors by 19 as a 1.5 favorites. They also beat I think a Heat team by 18, and they're 1 point favorites there. If you look at their current form, like I said, I just don't trust the Thunder offense, like their consistency lately, and their defense has shown to be more lax in these non-conference games. Also, if you look at the last 10 games, the Thunder are scoring 38.4% of their points from the three, which is the fifth highest in the league. But throughout the season, the Magic actually have been one of the better three-point defenses. So for me, coming off of that big win over the Kings, this is, to me, is like a letdown spot on the Thunder side. And I think the Magic continue their momentum going into the All-Star break. So I got to go with the Magic plus the 2.5.
So when a bettor looks for trends, they're going to find them. There's lots of trends out there. The question is what's meaningful and what's predictive moving forward. You were talking about records against non-conference opponents. And in my NBA handicapping, I never think about as a team a conference opponent and a non-conference opponent. It's just not even in my thought process. And you brought it up a couple of times. Is that something you look at? Do you think that's something that's real, that teams are going to play differently against, a non-conference opponent as opposed to a non-divisional opponent? And is that something you think that might be predictive moving forward?
Yeah, I think the further down you go in the season, playoff ranking, becomes more important. You look at these conference games, these divisional games, way more important. And also, these are like tendencies with teams, right? So sometimes you'll see teams who take these non-conference games more important than others. Really, that's why I look at them, because I want to see the tendencies with coaching strategy, with playoff rankings and things like that. So, looking at this Thunder team and how they've done with non-conference opponents versus another team that takes them more important, you can see that there's a gap in ATS numbers and how much they're scoring above or below their team totals and things like that. So it's definitely something I take into account. It's more of like that balance, right? You want to, like, I have a model, I have trends, I look at statistical interactions. So I did bring up in this specific matchup the non-conference situations, but I also brought in the fact that, statistical interactions with the 3-point shooting and things like that come into play as well. So it's not only one or the other, it's really a whole collective balance of what we're looking at.
Ronald Cabang joining us, everyone. And Ronald, you want to talk about the Portland Trail Blazers. You have a bet for us on the team total to go under. Now, Teddy normally has the follow-up question, so I'm going to ask a follow-up question before you even start. This Portland Trail Blazer team put up 84 points last game. In this day and age, that is basically being shut out in the NHL. They went 29% in their three-point attempts and 43% in all of their attempts. The odds are that they're not going to do those again. Normally, I'm looking to bet over the total here, especially after such a terrible performance. Tell us why you like this team total under.
Yeah, I mean, typically, I'm with you. Typically, you would think it's a bounce back situation, but there's a few key pieces here for me. I know, obviously, the Wolves won last night, right? They're on the second leg of back-to-back games. I was on the Wolves there. They've just had 2 big wins in a row. And to me, and then they're on the second leg of back-to-back games, potentially an unmotivated spot where they're playing a lowly Blazers team. They also play again on Thursday. So definitely like a flat spot on the Wolves side. But I would think that would be more so on the offensive side of the ball. And that's the reason why I kind of focus on the Blazers team total instead. One thing that really caught my eye here with the Wolves team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, when they're on the road and the books expect a lower scoring game, like under 220 is the threshold that I looked at. They're allowing just 104 points per game. Opponents 6-3 to their team total under. One game went over by the hook in that situation. If you look at the opposite side of the ball here, you have a Blazers team. They're averaging 105.6 points per game when facing an opponent on the second leg of back-to-back games. So they're not really taking advantage of tired legs or anything like that on the offensive side of the ball. If you include that the Blazers are rested, for some reason, their offense gets a little bit worse. They're actually 1-8 against the spread, averaging under 100 points per game in a 9-game span there. A key piece to why I think they stay under their team total tonight is Brogdon. Brogdon is out of the lineup. And without him, their offensive rating actually dropped significantly from 111.7 to 106.2. That's actually the worst in the league. I mean, so the Grizzlies are the worst offensive rated team in the league, right? That 106.2 actually puts them below the Grizzlies. So without Brogdon in the lineup, they're actually the worst offensive team in the league. I know Simons might be in the lineup again today, but I think Brogdon's offense and what he brings to that team is maybe underrated because Simon's such I would say, a more offensive-minded name that people think of. They would expect more points. But, yeah, to me, there's that impact there with Brogdon not in the lineup. Also, both teams, very slow-paced teams as well. If you look at the last 10 games, the Wolves are 27th in the league in pace. The Blazers are 29th in the league. The Blazers also turn the ball over at a high rate, so that limits their possessions. One place that I can see them succeeding to get points is getting to the free throw line because, I think they go to the free throw line at a high rate. The Wolves send opponents to the free throw line at a high rate, but even then, 102.5 or 102.5, it seems like it's still a touch above what I expect them to have. My model has them at exactly 100 in this game today. But another thing that I looked at here in home games where the total is under 220. So these books are expecting lower scoring games. They scored 100 against the Grizzlies, scored 95 against the Cavs, scored 84 against the Pelicans. I think that's the game that you just mentioned. Earlier this season, they played the Wolves team. They scored 93 against them. So to me, I think under 102.5 is definitely doable to stay under, even in a bounce back situation.
So conceptually, I'm with you. I mean, Portland is an offensively challenged team, and they're up against an elite defensive opponent. My question comes with this total. I mean, we're looking at what? Well, I'm seeing 101.5s out there right now, 102.5. That's as low a team total as you'll find in the modern NBA. Is there, so while we like the under, it feels like the markets have adjusted, haven't they? Or is there still value here at this relatively low number?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's definitely a lower number, but it's one of those things where you say, or I say it's probably low for a reason. Some of the games that I just mentioned, right, being able to, I think these totals where they're under 220, more than half of those games, they stayed under the 103 mark. So, I mean, it's, if you're looking at that specifically, right, and not looking at who they're facing as an opponent, that's still a high rate of staying under 102.5. But then you add to the fact that you're playing one of the better defensive teams in the league, that just pushes me more towards the under, in my opinion.
Ronald, what do you have to promote?
Yeah, it's tough because I gave out a play last night and it moved like 8 points. So it's tough to make that a play to give out. But I did play both of these games here that I just mentioned. Other than that, I think the NBA has been treating me well the last couple weeks. I think it's like hitting 60% in the NBA, and for the volume that I do, I think that's a really good percentage, in my opinion. And then we're especially as we get into the second half of the season, a lot more data comes into play. We're seeing more important factors in when we cap the game as well. So I think the second half of the season is going to be really awesome. So those long-term packages will be very profitable moving forward.
Perfect. Ronald Cabang, everyone. Well said. We still got Teddy's big game breakdown coming and Dave Sharapan. Please hit that like button, guys. Teddy, at the top of the show, I mentioned overtime is where dogs go to die. And it's something that you've always said to me. And it's a great saying. It's so appropriate. Last week, I had a college basketball game plus 5.5. It went to triple overtime. Overtime, and I lost by half a point. Last night, I had Houston. I was like, here we go again. Did you see the ending of that Houston Rockets game?
Yes, the foul on Jalen Brunson with 0.1 seconds left. That wasn't a foul that allowed the Rockets to win by 2. Yes.
Well, it was a foul, but it likely shouldn't have been called. Anyway,
they already have the 2-minute review, and it shouldn't have been a foul. That's already been determined. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, boom, I got one. Dave wait. Your big game breakdown. Then David Sharapan. He's sitting in the wings. He's going to have to pull out a pen and write notes because you're about to teach us something.
Big game breakdown. Let's talk some college hoops for tonight. Ohio State and Wisconsin. A rematch of an earlier conference game this season in Columbus, a game the Badgers won by 11. Look at the WagerTalk Live odds screen right now. I'm seeing Wisconsin -9. Let's call the total 139. There are some 139.5s out there right now. Wisconsin was a 2.5-point dog when these two teams met in January. I believe it was exactly a month ago. Now they're -9 at home. We've seen an 11.5-point swing. Now, some of that's certainly home court, but some of that is Ohio State's power rating, which is going, it's kind of dropped. They're 2-8 straight up their last 10 ball games. A team that's found ways to lose. They're still winless on the highway. 2 of their last 3 road games, they've lost by double digits against the spread. So non-competitive defeat. Now they finally notched a win. They beat Maryland in overtime last time out. That takes the edge off for Ohio State. The Badgers were 16-4. They were a top 25 team. They lost an overtime game at Nebraska. They blew a 16-point halftime lead in that game. Then lost at home to Purdue. No shame there. And then they've lost back-to-back roadies against, in theory, teams you're supposed to beat in the Big Ten, Michigan and Rutgers. Neither elite teams, but both hungry, desperate, at home, and still good enough. This was the number 5 team nationally in offensive efficiency. And we've seen a dramatic drop-off in offensive play. Less than 1 point per possession in all 4 of their recent defeats. Certainly, we're talking about a team that has talent. It's a 4-game skid. They're returning home to face a weaker foe, a team they dominated already this season. I'll call it blowout time. Give me the Badgers minus the points against the Buckeyes. I think this one gets away from Ohio State. If I'm playing, I'm laying. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. President.
Teddy, let's bring him in right off the bat. David frickin' Sharapan. Nice hat, Dave. How are you, my friend?
Had to get the big hat for the big game breakdown. That was unbelievable. I was inspired. I was excited. And I agree with you 100%. The Badgers is the side in the big game breakdown. Boys, good to see you. It's been a couple weeks. Been really busy. It's post-Super Bowl week. Theodore, what do we do? There were so many people here. It was so busy. I saw you down on the strip with Morency early in the week. Couldn't get you in the door to come in and hang out with us on BVB on in Media Row. They had that thing on security like lockdown. But it was fun. I don't know what to do now, though, Teddy, other than sleep.
Well, what you can do is tell us about that hat. How much was it? Did you actually pay for it? Is that real?
Nogginboss.com. We had them on the show. They put it on my head and said, that thing looks so good on you, you can keep it. And all we need to do, we're trying to set up a little deal where they're going to make us some hats for the show. But the CEO, Gabe, couldn't have been nicer. And him and Sean, sat on the show. And this thing retailed for $199 at the NFL Experience.
Yeah. Easy.
And they custom make them. So you can pick out any team you want. But, the other ones, the team ones are like $129. They were making them on the spot. So that's how those things are done. I mean, we had them on the show. Again, we clicked. They're based in Phoenix. They could have been nicer. They said, Dave, you keep the hat. We got something, in the works to get a deal, endorsement deal. I said I would wear it on the shows this week. I'm wearing it on the shows this week. I took a picture with Cam Hayward, the NFL Player Man of the Year award winner, with this hat on. And it actually wouldn't have fit on his head. That dude has a really big head. It was great, though. It was a lot of fun. So, yeah, I got multiples on. I had to get this on at the top of the thing. There's the lid, nogginboss.com. Great stuff.
So I want you to talk about the experience of the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, something that you and I never thought we'd see in our lifetimes, something that even 10 years ago, the 1,000 to 1 against, 10,000 to 1 against, and yet here it was. Talk about how Vegas handled it. Talk about the city. Talk about the experience.
I knew it was coming, and I still can't believe it. I think Vegas pulled it off great. I mean, I got hats and merch. It says Super Bowl in Las Vegas on the same thing. And the game was here. I mean, like, there's nothing better than coming to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl if you need a big game experience without going to the game. It's a lot of fun, the parties, the prop bets, all of that stuff was a unique thing. And then gambling.
I just want to say, going to see the Dead at the Sphere will blow the Super Bowl away. Sorry to interrupt, guys. Yeah.
No. That's fine. It might, but
not
the
might.
Game itself.
Not might.
I thought it lived up to the billing. I really
did. It was an incredible football game.
I thought so.
One of the best football games we've seen in ages. It was absolutely spectacular, minus the betting component of it for me personally, although I did go 5-4. Teddy, sorry to interrupt, dude.
You're not interrupting me. You interrupted our guest twice. Dave, please finish what you were saying.
I thought I would give it an A, Teddy. I thought Vegas did great. The media circus that it was not so much a circus. Everything was congested in a nice area. The ease of moving around and getting to people's other shows or different places was great up until Friday. The reason why it's not an A+ is because of what happened on Friday and Saturday. The amount of people that converged on the Strip made traffic like nothing I've ever seen. And light pole went down Sunday night after the game on Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard, backups for hours. No one knew where to go. And when you're on arteries like Frank Sinatra and you can't move, you're sitting there for 2 hours, there's a little bit of panic. People were getting out of, Ubers, getting out of taxis, saying, I'll walk. The weather didn't cooperate either, but we can't control the weather. Nonstop rain Monday, Tuesday, no sun until Thursday. People complaining from the East Coast. Be careful what you wish for, because the East Coast got bombed today with weather. My daughter's in Rutherford, New Jersey, over a foot of snow today. So the Super Bowl was great. I thought, it wasn't great for the books, though, Teddy. I don't know if you saw the numbers. Did you see what happened?
I did, but let's talk about this for a minute, because all I heard on Sunday night was we lost. We got clobbered. The overtime killed us. Brock Purdy killed us. McCaffrey scoring the first touchdown killed us. It was negative. And then the numbers come out, and they're like, oh, we had 3.7% handle, which is our hold, I should say, which is not what they wanted on record-breaking handle, but it's not the books losing the Super Bowl. It's they won 3.7% here in Nevada. That's the numbers I saw. We haven't gotten anything reported from anywhere else yet, have we?
No. I mean, there's places back east that I know that lost, but the reason why Vegas won or Nevada won was because of the futures, that kept the number over the, threshold to win for the day, because you grade all those things on the same day. The overtime prop was destruction, paying out 9-1. I mean, the guys at Caesars told me that it was a 7-figure loss. Yeah. They lost over $1 million on a prop, which that's a whole nother discussion for another time, because if you're not managing the risk, how could you lose $1 million, 7 figures? Like, are you not paying attention, or are you gambling? But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. The game went the way a lot of people, the majority of people, thought it would go. Bet against Patrick Mahomes, and you lose. That's, we heard it all week. I wanted to give away stuff on Radio Row, Media Row. Every time somebody came on and we asked them the last question, who do you like in a game? I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. It worked.
Yeah, Dave, 100%. And I got to tell you, the way Patrick Mahomes made that ball bounce off of that guy's foot on the punt was exceptional. Right. The way he came out and dove in front of that extra point kick,
amazing.
Unheard of. I mean, Patrick Mahomes can do no wrong. I'm sick of listening to this. What do we got? What bets do we have for tonight?
I didn't even know there were games for today. I hadn't even looked.
It sounds like someone lost a Super Bowl bet. Yeah, you're the Niners? Yeah.
You know I have the Niners. And I'm okay with losing the Niners. I'm okay with losing the Niners, but to listen to people tell us that Patrick Mahomes, never bet against Patrick Mahomes, his ability to get punts to land on feet is incredible. I mean, his ability to prevent PATs is mind-blowing. Dave, I got lunch to go to, and I regretfully have a meeting with my accountant today. Give us some bets for tonight, please.
It's that time of year. I got nothing yet. I haven't even looked at the boards yet. I've been running around doing interviews and making calls, trying to book guests on Bostonian versus the book. I'll do a quick promo for that Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern. The chat's popping. The hats are popping. We got, I just got a text this morning. The ESPN bet bought the WinBet license in New York. So the world's going to change back east, and we're trying to get that lined up. So we'll talk about that. I'm doing Morency's show tonight on Sports Grid and SiriusXM Radio from 7 to 10 Pacific p.m. because Morency is traveling back to Vancouver. So that's going on. And then every night, usually on Sports Grid and SiriusXM Radio at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, in-game live. I don't know what else to give you, Prez. I was looking forward to seeing you. I saw Carmine. I didn't get a chance to see Teddy. But everybody's was here, and that was great. And everybody's gone, and that's better. So
I wish
you were here.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So Dave, we're gonna have a ban on Super Bowl hats moving forward.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like it?
I just football's over, bro. Move on.
What? We got the purple. I got this one. This one here.
Okay. Why don't we go through them all? Why don't we go through them all right now and just get it over with? What else?
I have this one here. Yeah. They gave me a really good deal.
I don't like that hat. It's a soft top.
The soft top ones are on sale, really. Yeah. So I had a bunch. But listen, it's a one-time thing. Well, it's not. We had the LVCA president come on and say, Vegas is in a rotation. Every 4 or 5 years, there's going to be a Super Bowl here. So start prepping now, Prez. You're coming to the next one. Whether you win or lose, your bet is immaterial. We need you here.
Dave, I'll be there. And Teddy, you better be nice. I'm holding extra tickets to see the Dead. I already had Dan ask for one, and I put you ahead of him. So be nice.
Whoa. I love the Dead. No. I actually worked a concert, Prez. The last concert that Jerry Garcia did in Pittsburgh. He went to Cincinnati and passed away. That was the last one. I worked that concert.
Oh, my God.
Changed my life.
I was there.
In Pittsburgh at Three River Stadium?
Yeah. And it sounded so bad. Control. It was such an embarrassment.
It was terrible.
Dave, what song does Scarlet Begonias normally lead into?
I have no idea. That was the
Get
only
out
time
of here.
I
Tickets aren't yours. Dave Sharapan, everyone! We love having you, bro. Teddy, we got over 100 likes. Football is over, so we're going to go back to 100 likes instead of 125. Dan, it's time for the daily presidential address. Okay, guys, I only got one play to give out. I have 3 plays that I put up on the penalty box segment. That show should be up in the next few hours, so check that out. I got a really strong bet to give out on this daily presidential address. Before we get into that, I got to tell you guys, I'm winning in NBA, college basketball, and NHL, and I'm winning large. It's not. I'm not up 1 unit. I'm up an absolute ton. I'm on a 6-2 NBA run. I'm on a 6-1 NHL run. My college basketball has been insane from start to finish. 27-15 run in that. Please don't miss my bets. And I don't separate them normally. I'm curious if Teddy does. I normally just put them all together. $29, you get the whole thing. I don't give out a $25 single pick. I want you to bet all my plays and not hand pick certain ones. So please head over to WagerTalk and take advantage of that. Okay, Boston Bruins playing Tampa Bay tonight. I freaking love Boston in this spot. Boston plays a terrible game a week ago against Calgary. They lose 4-1 at home. What did they do the next night? They laid the smackdown on the number one team in hockey, the Vancouver Canucks. Well, 2 nights ago, Boston laid an egg against Washington. At home, got shut out 3-0. What are they going to do tonight? They're going to lay the smackdown on this crappy Tampa Bay team. Boston is 7-3 head-to-head against Tampa Bay in their last 10. Tampa Bay is a bet against team moving forward. Boston has not lost 2 games in a row in a long, long time. Minus 155, minus 160. That's a short price. I love the Bruins tonight. Teddy, we'll see you tomorrow, bro. Take us home.
Sure. That's going to wrap it for the Tuesday edition of Wager Talk Today. Like Lawrence said, we'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, right here on the Wager Talk YouTube TV. Wager Talk TV on YouTube. Between now and tomorrow's games, enjoy your wagers. Enjoy your game. Enjoy the games and good luck with your wagers and goodbye.